Hello everyone, this is Mr. Crozier. I'm going to go over practice quiz number 2 here. Well, the first is our typical table for sine, and that's 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. But however, it has a phase shift. A negative 5 will make this 0, so I put a negative 5. Now the period is still 12. Negative 5 plus 12 is 7. You can go back and find the middles, and after you multiply and add, notice what happens. This now is the min, and this is the max, and that's because we have a negative sine value. All right, on number 2, the critical points for a cosine are 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1, multiply and add, and the period is from 0 to 10. You can find the middles there. On number 3, we have a period that starts from 0 to 8, so it's right there. From 0 to 8, I have a wave, 0 to 8, 0 to 8, 0 to 8, all the way through. So it's going up 8 every time. And then it's going, and make sure you watch these values to know what you do. 5 to 3 to 1 to 3 to 5. So it starts up and goes down. And the bottom one here goes from negative 4 to 16. That is a period length of 20. If I'm at 16, I add on another 20. Well, now I'm at 16 plus 20. It's going to put me at 36. And then going backwards, I'm going to take negative 4 minus 20, and it's going to be at negative 24. So there's forwards, adding 20, backwards, subtracting 20. And you can find the midlines and the maximum. Going over to the back now, we have an amplitude of negative 2, actually positive 2. We just take the absolute value here, but then make a note that it is reflected, so you make sure you make your graph go the right way. Period is 2 pi divided by pi. Phase shift is none because there's nothing here, so this is my starting value right there. And the midline of 8. So here's my midline of 8. Amplitude of 2, so I go up 2, down 2 from 8, and the period is 2, so from the start I go to 2 that way, fill in the lines, and again make sure it's reflected. You go down first and then up. Alright, on the bottom one, I changed the problem originally. I had a different problem here, but now it's 4x over pi, so the amplitude is 6. The period is 2 pi divided by 4 pi, so you have to do this work. Whenever you're dealing with the period, it takes a little bit more work than normal. So I multiplied this out. 10 over 4 is 5/2 pi. That's the period. There is no phase shift either on this one, but there is a midline of 1. So here's 1. And if I count up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm at 7. Down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm at negative 5. All right, what is the period? Well, there is no phase shift, so I go 5 pi over 2, negative 5 pi over 2. It's very simple when there's no phase shift. You just go right and left, and in the middle, I didn't draw it here, but it'd be a good idea to draw this line right down the middle, because that's the middle of your graph. All right, building the equations at the bottom. Well, you have the original equation, and you just have to put in the A, B, C, and D. And they're easy except for the B value. This one is tricky right here. So first step is always look at where it starts. It starts at x is equal to 0. So that's this line right here. And it starts in the middle and it goes up. So right away I knew it was a sine graph. And it stops right there. So it goes up and down, and that's a sine wave. Well, how high up does it go? Well, it goes from 0 up to 2.5. Make sure you see it's 2.5 there. And then there is no midline, and it starts at 0, so there is no phase shift. So there's no C value, no D value, because the mid is 0 and there's no phase shift. All that's left is the B. And again, here's the work you have to do to figure out the B. One period goes from 0 to 6 pi right here. So 2 pi divided by B is 6 pi. And then you just have to solve this equation, multiply this over, divide this. I guess I'll write one more step here. Now I'm going to divide this over, and I have b is equal to 2 pi over 6 pi. So b is equal to 1/3. And then now you can just take that 1/3 and put it in there. 1/3 times x is x over 3. All right, on the next graph, it starts at 3.5. Well, that's right here. So it starts at the top and it goes down to the middle, then down. Well, that's definitely a cosine wave. The midline, draw the midline if it's not there. Well, it goes from 8 up to 0. Between 8 and 0 is 4. And from 4 up to 8 is a magnitude or an amplitude of 4. We do have this phase shift. It's starting at 3. So actually this should be a -3 in here. This is a -3 because I'm putting in +3 makes this 0. So it's positive shifted to the right, starting at right. 3.5 minus 3.5 is 0. And then now what is the period? Well, 2 pi divided by b is the period. And this graph goes from 3.5 to 13.5. That's 10. So this length right here is 10. 2 pi divided by b is 10. Multiply this over. Divide this over. You have 2 pi over 10. 2 over 10 is 1/5. Pi over 5 goes there. Again, you can see these three values in the graph. This b value comes from this equation all the time. All the time you have to work it out. And the equation is simply 2 pi divided by b is the period. All right, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, see me in class.